Good morning. So, it's been a minute. Nothing new here. It's not like there's a end of the world pandemic going around or anything, right? Okay. So, there's a lot to do. Been doing a lot of work around here. Working on a shop and a garage. Working on the lab. But I started a new job about September, and I have not had time to walk in this lab. Couldn't make the time to do it. But of course now everything is a little bit slow. Not really sure why, but I do have a project. It's a pretty cool project, and it's a lighted sign. And we're going to make it do a new thing. So without getting in too much into that, I needed to do some prototyping, and well, my breadboards are all full. All of them are full with that kind of stuff. So I got another one, and this one I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm going to put it inside of a project box. Well, not inside, but I'm going to mount it to one, and it's going to sit at about a 45-degree angle, like so. And it's just going to be made out of wood with a little bit of paint on it. Try and make it look somewhat decent. And since I do a lot of stuff with split power supplies, I might mount one in there. So essentially, nothing real big here. I wanted to have some printouts, but couldn't get my printer to work, and just ran out of time. And I thought, no, I got to do a video tonight. So basically, this is just the face of the box. I just kind of sketched that out, and then we're going to have about a ½ an inch overlap all the way around this breadboard, and then this is probably not going to show up very well, but just to get a little rough idea from the side, we've got with our ½ inch, it's overlap. Our board is going to be about 9 inches, so a little bit of basic math there. And 9 inches, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we're looking at about 6.375 inches on each edge of our triangle here. So what I'm going to do is not make a very long video. Right. At least not right now. I got to get the saw set up. I got to get the wood cut. I got to get some holes drilled, blah, blah, blah. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the box. I may or may not add some still shots or a little bit of video. I have no idea, but we'll see. So stay tuned. There'll be more. Okay, so again, forewarning, a carpenter I am not. But this is our little enclosure, kind of out in the shop right now. Some of the dust out of that, and get a good idea of how it's going to set up. This goes right on top of here like so, and should give us about a 45-degree angle. Of course, my saw is one of the cheapest saws in the world, so I made a miscut, and rather than doing it all over again, I just changed the dimensions just a tad. And of course, we went over everything with the sander just to knock down the big stuff. We'll take out the gaps, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to paint this thing anyway, rather than stain it. But there you go. So we'll move on to the next step. Okay, and as you can see, I lied. We did not go with paint. We did go with a stain, which is actually Minwax, by the way. But just one single coat. The paint looked absolutely horrible, and while I didn't really care about aesthetics on this, I wanted function. It just looked bad, so I did a little test piece, and I said, that's horrible. But I also knew that I put a lot of wood putty on this, and stuff like this was going to happen, and it did, and that's okay. And you can see, the corners of the box turned out all right. For somebody that runs a power saw and whatnot. Once every 3 to 5 years, whether I like it or not. Not too shabby. The screws, the hardware that's in here right now, it's not going to stay. It just happened to be on a Sunday, and Mother's Day of all days. There was a lot of places that were closed because people were spending time with their mothers, and that's great. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. So I just needed to, of course, now being Monday, I could go out and get some stuff. But probably go with some black oxide screws, or who knows, maybe we'll go fancy and do brass. I doubt it. We've got a relief hole cut in here. This is going to be for our power cord. I need to get a grommet to go through there when we wind up tying a knot. This is going to be serviceable though. We'll be able to take this on and off as needed via the screws, and more than likely the power supply board that's going to be in here is not a precision power supply by any means. It's just a split volt power supply, but it gets pretty close to about 15 volts positive, 15 volts negative, and that will be what will be in this box because that's what I use the most, and I don't need it to be a precision benchtop power supply for most of the circuits. However, since this will have an on-off switch and a fuse, if I do need to use this for if I need to get some more precise voltages in here, I can just turn off the power supply, and unplug it, and then run one of my bench supply lines into the power supply rails. So no big deal. So this thing is going to work absolutely fine. I had not done one of these before. Again, I have these piles that are off kind of camera a little bit. This is already, I just tried it out just a little bit, and I don't know who thought of this, but they are a genius. That just so much easier, especially working around a camera like I do a lot. So without this camera in the way, when I'm going to, whenever I attempt to breadboard a circuit, this is just going to make it so much easier. One of the things that I used this as a template in a few places to make some cuts. If I were to do this again, I don't want to get sawdust in this, and I should have thought about that, and I actually did a little bit. I just didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. But one of the filters that I use out in the shop was completely clogged, and I didn't realize how bad it was because I started working on things, and all of a sudden I look around and go, oh, I can't see more than 3 feet. That's not good. And that's what happened. So if I were to do this again, what I would probably do is take maybe some plastic sheeting, what do you call it, either masking tape, or just cover that with some of the wide masking tape. Just put a layer across here lightly, just to keep the dust out of it. The dust particles in there are obviously going to cause some issues with trying to do some breadboard work. So it'd be better to just keep them out. Maybe some adhesive spray and some saran wrap or whatever you want to call it, plastic film, right over the top, just to keep the dust out. I had to blow this out a lot, and I'm still not sure that it's all that clean. Let's see, wood bits. Again, the inside frame rails, I would have moved those in just a little bit, at least on this front face. Where they're at right here on the inside of the box, they're interfering with this, with these terminals. So I had to do some creative drill work, and it was more time consuming than it needed to be, and they're gonna still be kind of sort of in the way, but I don't really see changing the terminal wires on these too often. That shouldn't be that much of an issue. So other than that, that's it. We can make some modifications as I see fit, but for right now, the big thing is I have projects to do that are going to require some either on-camera breadboard work or off-camera breadboard work, where I just want this to be able to sit over the side, and I want to be able to pick this thing up and move it. And this, oh, look, it's nice and heavy, sturdy. It isn't going anywhere. I likes it. And then, of course, this eBay breadboard came with feet, which I might put on the bottom. Where did they go? There they are. I might go ahead and put a little hot snot on there and just set those on there. I haven't really decided yet. It picks it up just a little bit. That might be nice. So I don't know. I'll figure it out. Let's see. I think that's about it. So I guess the purpose of the video was just to show you that I watched a friend of mine when I was a kid play classical guitar. He's a genius, literal musical genius. He was teaching college classes to other musicians when he was like 16, 17. And he can sit down with a $1,500 classical guitar and play a piece that will make the tears well up in the corners of your eyes with that guitar. He can take a cheap $60 like Elica guitar and almost make it sound as good. It's not the instrument, it's the musician, it's the artist, it's the guy that's sticking the stuff in here. So it's just like the cheap table saw. Look, we did an okay job with a pretty cheap table saw. You know what I mean? Is it perfect? No. Am I making production stuff? No. Will it do the job? Absolutely. So if you're thinking about building one of these, so far, highly recommend. Again, do a little corner work before you start, just so that you know what you're doing. Obviously, you're running power tools. You know the risks involved with that. You could probably get away with doing this with hand tools and making it, just take you a little bit longer. But definitely worth the time just to have something that's nice and solid and sturdy and isn't going anywhere. It's worth its weight in gold so far. So, okay. Nice quick video, I think. I'm going to go ahead and move on to another video so where I can start working on some projects. So until the next time, thanks for watching and take care.